Are you able to max out your retirement savings, yet you still want to save more? In this episode, we'll reveal what we tell clients who are in this situation. We've got our top 5 ideas for what we tell people to do after they've maxed out their 401k or 403b savings accounts. Hi, I'm Bridget Sullivan-Mermel, and I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm John Shear. I have a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin. And before we get any farther, Bridget, I want to remind viewers to hit that subscribe button. That helps other people find this information, helps increase our rankings on YouTube. So hit subscribe, and let's get on to talking about what to do when you max out your 401k, right? A great situation to be in. Listen, you're doing a super job of savings, got a good income, we're maxing out. Now you go, geez, I'd still like to save more money. What places do you tell people? Like, where do people go once they've maxed out the 401k, Bridget?
My number one suggestion is either backdoor Roths or sometimes you can just do a regular Roth contribution. So looking into those two options is my number one thing. And we work with clients on this all the time.
Yeah, that's right. And Roth IRA, right, where all the future growth is going to be tax-free.
Right.
And sometimes people don't know that even if their income is too high, there's ways, this backdoor Roth thing, right? There's ways that you can do Roth contributions. And so that's our number one place to go with things is if you max out the 401k plan, if you're not already doing Roth IRA, look to do that thing, and you can do what, another $6,000 into that?
$7,000 if you're over 50.
$7,000
yeah.
for certain people. I'm not going to say how that goes. Yeah. If you're over 50 years old, you can do, right? And so that's, and if you're part of a married couple, that's $14,000 maybe that you can put money that's all going to grow tax-free, right? And so that's the first best place that I look to do that also with things. The other place that we look and say, listen, can you do, if you're already doing that $14,000 if you're a married couple into Roth or backdoor Roth, then you still got some more money to save. Right. What to do with it? And at least for our business, I say, listen, just doing it into a taxable account, right? Putting money on a consistent basis. So it's not tax deductible like your 403b or 401k. It's not tax-free in the future like your Roth. It's kind of in this middle ground where it's not tax deductible, but there are some other tax advantages to investing in that. So that's a good middle ground to do is after maxing out those 401ks, 403bs, and we're doing the backdoor things, that's clearly number one in my mind, then just investing in a portfolio, right? That's the place to go with it for us.
The way you've described it, it's like Goldilocks account. It's like not too, it's not tied up. That's the thing about these retirement accounts is that you're really supposed to wait until you're retired to use them.
That's right.
So if you want more the taxable accounts are great because you do get there's some tax advantages to them, yet they're available. So you can get at the money.
Right.
And they can also help you in the future. You can do fun tax planning things like donate stocks that have gone up or create a donor advised fund. So there's a lot of more tax planning opportunities in the future.
I can't believe you just said fun tax planning things. What is wrong with these people in front of the camera here, right? It's kind of funny when you say it, like this is something, get excited about that, right?
Yeah.
Those are fun things on our side.
We look at it as they're great because you can use them, but they're also great donation opportunities too. And a lot of our viewers like to give money. So that's one of the things I really love talking about with our Goldilocks accounts.
The other thing, we've got some clients where in addition to their 403b plan, it is in this case for university employees here in the Madison area, they're also state employees. And certain state and federal employees qualify for a different type of retirement plan. Around here, they refer to it as deferred comp. Technically, the legal language, it's a 457 plan. But what that means is that in this weird sort of angle on things, if somebody's working at the hospital is a typical one, maxing out their 403b, they can also do the 457 plan or deferred comp, and they can put another $20,000 or $25,000 into that.
Yeah.
So it's one of these little kind of angle things, and I'm sure you have some similar stories down in the Chicago area, that, golly, it can be a really great deal to sort of double up on your retirement. Not a lot of people know about that angle on things.
Yeah, if you work for, the people that I've seen are typically either work for a university or a municipality, they have 457s, or I saw interesting plan once that was taxable, but it had a guaranteed rate of return on it.
Interesting.
And it was cute. I
Yeah,
liked it.
makes some sense, right?
I had to look into it because I hadn't heard about this kind of plan before. So it's not like even planners might not know about it, but if you work for a particularly a university or in the I guess they call it public sector.
Yeah.
If you're a public sector employee, you can start diving into those employee benefits a little bit more and see if there's any kind of obscure plans that are available to you. They can be great.
And the big one for us too is university employees, right? They've got the 403B plan clearly through as a school, right? And then they've also as a state employee, at least in Wisconsin with a lot of the state universities. And where, as I was hearing us describe this, hey, we've got experience, like where does this come in, right? Geez, I'm working for a university. I'm going to save $50,000 a year or something like this? And we've got clients where one spouse is working and they're running a business and they have make a good income. Or we've got a client where it was a stay-at-home mother in this case, and and the dad was working, supporting the family, and kids are out of the house, and mom says, hey, I'm going to go back and I'm going to work at the UW hospital as a nurse, right? We don't really need my income at all, but what the heck? You go, okay, well, geez, we're going to make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 working my schedule, and we don't need the money. What should we do with it? Well, does it make sense to look and, we can put a lot of money into this tax deferred thing. Geez, yeah, I'm earning an income. It's all going to build retirement things in the right circumstance. I mean, that can be a huge deal to defer income into the future when maybe you're in a lower tax bracket, right? Yeah. That's a whole other topic, but there's these opportunities that are there. So I think it's a great thing for those university and public employees to at least consider.
Yeah, and I had a public employee who we just did it for 1 year because they also had a rental property, and if they contributed a lot, they could get their income low enough so that they could deduct some of the losses on the rental property, and so then everything went down lower, and so it was a great opportunity. But they couldn't maintain it. But they did it 1 year. It was awesome.
That's a great description. Right? You have these changes in income. You got some things to do, and it's a reminder to me that. This isn't sort of, well, if you max out your 401k plan, then do this, right? Everybody should do it. Like, no, you need to think about this stuff. And this thing impacts that thing, and that thing impacts the other, and your rental property, and then your spouse's business, and then my employment. And it's not a straightforward thing. This takes planning. It takes some thought and some detail in it. So these are great ideas, but, your mileage may vary, right? You need to look at your situation and do a plan for what your situation is and think about how that moves forward. And just remember that one moving part here changes that moving part, changes the other moving part, and everything is connected. It's not, these decisions can't be made in a vacuum.
Right. So fourth idea is I-bonds. Okay, so we love I-bonds.
Right,
and we've done several videos about I-bonds, and we'll be doing more. And I-bonds, you can contribute, each person can contribute $10,000, and it's tied up for a year, but they're earning very high interest rates right now because they're tied to inflation. Inflation happens to be high. So I-bonds, that gets you another $10,000 a year without doing any kind of things fancy. There's other ways you can contribute more to I-bonds too, but easy, you can do $10,000 a year.
That's right. So yeah, I-bonds, great short-term investment, and getting 9+% these days. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'll throw one other thing out there that we talk about with people. It happens in a narrow sliver of things, but actually life insurance that has cash value, this can be a place that fits in. And I know Bridget's looking at me like I just grew a third eyeball over here going, what the heck? In general, right? We recommend term insurance. Get lots of insurance. Buy term. Don't buy cash value. It's usually a better deal for the agent selling it than for the customer buying it. But in a certain circumstance, you say, listen, I'm maxing out my 401k plan. I don't have access to a 457 plan. We're doing backdoor Roths. We're already doing some other investing for college, let's say, and I've got young kids and I need the insurance. It's at least a place where it makes sense. That's one of the kind of narrow slivers in my mind where, now it's an option. Don't know that it's the first option or the best, but it's something where, okay, now that can be on the table. And when you already need the life insurance, again, kids are out of the house, no way. You got young kids like I do. Hey, it's an option for somebody who's a little bit older and has more, their earnings have gone up. And that rate of return inside there, when you take a look at it with all those other factors, hey, I got to buy insurance anyway, and that investment component can be a decent deal. So that's at least on the table for people in that situation for me.
It's interesting. It's a great idea, but the thing is that people need to understand that it's the fifth idea after you're already saving a whole lot of money. I had a client once who wasn't contributing to a 401k, didn't have anything else, and their insurance agent recommended this as a great retirement planning tool.
Right.
Okay, so this is where
this
is where the third eyeball comes in.
but in fairness, it was a great retirement plan for the agent.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I see this. Oh, geez, you should be. How much can you put in your life insurance as a 23-year-old for retirement? Like, no, that is not the deal. I'm glad that you brought that up. Right? It's after you've done all these other things, and hey, I'm in a really high tax bracket. I need the insurance. Right? How many people are in that high tax bracket and still need the insurance? Right? Not everybody.
And they've saved all these other ways.
Saved all these other ways. And right, okay, so yeah, it can be in there, but it is definitely the fifth option, but something that could fit in the situation.
Yeah, my suspicion, unfortunately, is that the vast majority of the policies sold are not to this little sliver of people. It's to the great majority of the other people. So that's, again, back to the third eyeball.
Right,
anyway,
right.
That's a great place to wrap up. I'm Bridget Sullivan-Mermel, and I have a fee-only financial planning practice in Chicago.
And I'm John Shear. I have a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin. And before we go, I just one more reminder, hit that subscribe button, help other people find this information. And if you like what you hear on Friends Talk Financial Planning, both Bridget and I are members of the Alliance of Comprehensive Planners, nationwide group of fee-only tax-focused planners who think similarly to us. Visit acplanners.org to find an advisor in your area. And with that, until next time.